Hello there, this is Kimberly Wilson, and welcome back to Tranquility du Jour, nourishing conversations about living a full and meaningful life with doses of tranquility. This is episode 555. I can't believe that a year ago now we were having our 500th episode kind of anniversary, and it was so fun to be with you guys. Thank you again for joining me live for that. My goodness, last August, and for tuning in for so many years. Next month is our 16-year anniversary. So again, thank you for being here. And also thank you as I had 2 interviews back to back because I wanted to get out last week's to help celebrate the launch of her book. So that's why we got a little off with the every other, meaning an interview followed by my muse. So I'm sorry you had to wait just a smidgen more for self-care part 2. But I hope it was worth the wait because I've got some really yummy stuff here today. So in this week's episode, again, it's part 2 of the self-care checklist, also kind of known as healthy habits that I created and pulled together for Year of Tranquility, which is my latest book that came out in 2019. So we're going to be talking a little bit, or I'm going to be sharing some ideas around journaling, gratitude, positive self-talk, and mindful eating. All good stuff. And again, this will be a 4-part series. So let's start with journaling. As I look at my journal on my desk, always at the ready. So the idea of putting pen to paper, or some of you may be more about fingers to keyboard. So this can serve as a therapeutic brain dump. That's also a little bit of shining light into dark, unexplored places. So I tend to use it for a lot of processing, list making even, brainstorming, exploring what is this all about? Like, why is this triggering me? What's going on? A way to really dive deeper. So the idea really is without overthinking. There are so many wonderful resources out there on journaling. And so I'll just kind of touch the, tip of the iceberg really with what I'm going to share. But ideally, we want to be writing uncensored, meaning, okay, we don't need to worry about grammar. We don't need to worry about punctuation. This is all about getting your thoughts out onto the computer, or I'm much more a paper girl. So some ideas, of course: make lists, create a mind map, which is a visual organization of information. Quite helpful. That's actually how I did the book proposal for my second book, Tranquilista, was a mind map. And that was just for me. It was not what I submitted to my agent. Answer a basic prompt that will change every time you write. So my go-to is, at this moment, I am feeling ... right? Because we're always feeling a little bit different. And process what emotions arise and why. So after a few weeks, months, or years of doing this, you'll have lots of fodder for exploring and better understanding those patterns, motivations, fears, and struggles. So I kind of think of journaling, it's a wonderful tool just to get things out of your head onto paper and to really look at, shine a light on, as I mentioned, and see what is going on here. So it's a great, great tool in that way. And it's also wonderful to be able to look back and be like, I recall this happening around this time last year. I wonder if this is a bit of upset that summer is coming to an end, or, whatever it might be, right? If we can look at these basic patterns. All right, number 2, or the second piece that I want to talk about, is gratitude. So it's so easy, and we're wired this way, to notice what is wrong versus what is right. So evolutionarily, we are wired to always be looking for threats, right? To see, okay, what is wrong? What is a possibility of danger, right? So we're going to notice that. So we have to refocus and rewire our brain to notice what is right. And that is where gratitude comes in. So grab a paper and pen and take a moment to contemplate what you are grateful for right now. Yes, right now in this moment. Maybe it's a cool or a warm home, a soft bed, a simple pleasure, a romantic relationship, a pet or multiple pets, a family member, a cozy bed, a dear friend, a green juice, colored pencils, good health, mint tea, twinkle lights, candles, you name it. Like, what is it that you're grateful for? Maybe it's a nice email that you got. Maybe it's a sweet care package that arrived. Maybe it's sunshine when it's been raining a lot, or rain when it's been dry. So studies show that expressing gratitude can lower stress levels, improve sleep and self-esteem, right? Because we're noticing what's right versus what's wrong, enhance empathy, and increase perspective. Another thing that's helpful is to try a gratitude partner, right? So every day you send a text message, one thing you're grateful for. And this is just somebody that you check in with regularly. And, you just let them know, like, this is what's on my mind. This is what I'm grateful for today. And there's a sense, obviously, of accountability with that, right? Because your accountability buddy is going to be like, I haven't heard from so-and-so. Let me send them a text message and let them know what I'm grateful for. So the next one is positive self-talk. We are so good at not being so nice to ourselves, right? So one way to work on this is really to start by paying attention, and this is super helpful through journaling. What am I saying to myself? So try to eliminate that internal negative chatter. Like, I cannot believe you have forgotten where the keys are again, right? I mean, whatever it might be, how can you just kind of encourage that part of yourself to take a back seat? One way that is helpful and used a lot in cognitive behavioral therapy is to say cancel when those thoughts arise and reroute to the present moment, right? Where am I right now? What am I doing? I feel my feet on the ground. I feel cool air on my skin. I hear the sounds of snoring pugs, whatever it might be, or even to a pleasant memory. So again, it's the idea of rerouting, rewiring the brain. Express positive affirmations to yourself, such as, you've got this, you're doing your best. Avoid saying things to yourself that you wouldn't say to a dear friend. Take your stories to court. Do you know beyond a reasonable doubt that your best friend is upset with you? Or that you're not going to get better at writing? Whatever it is. Of course, you do not know, unless they've specifically said, I am mad at you. And there's no way you can know that you're not going to get better at writing, because you will with practice. So replace those negative influences with positive ones, and it'll rub off on you. So shift that self-talk from, I have so much to do, I'm overwhelmed, to, I am in charge of my life. I choose what's on my plate. So positive self-talk, it helps promote hope, optimism, and happiness. And let's be honest, we are our worst critics. If you're interested in kind of exploring this a bit more, check out, and I just downloaded the book on Kindle, but Self-Compassion by Dr. Kristen Neff. So she's all about mindful self-compassion, and she's got wonderful books, TED Talks, etc. out there. But she's kind of like a great go-to to become kinder to yourself and treat yourself as you would a dear, dear friend. So notice, what are you saying to yourself? Okay, and last but not least for this week is mindful eating. All right, so mindful eating, so important, so important. And, especially because the average weight gain during the pandemic, one article I read said 29 pounds. Right? So it's one of those things where we eat for comfort, we eat for pleasure, we eat for joy, right? I mean, I definitely noticed when we were out on our road trip, which there is a 4-part series on that also, it's like, oh my gosh, I ate so much. And, it's one of those things, I mean, whatever, I can regroup, and I have since I've been back. But, it's one of those things to just really tap in and notice, why am I doing this? Or am I hungry? Okay, so there's so much to be said about mindful eating, so I'm just going to touch on it here. But what I write is, it's the practice of noticing thoughts, feelings, and sensations while eating, So rather than consuming food unconsciously, say while watching TV or driving to work, for example, I was driving back from the emergency vet this morning. Sweet Belle, I ask everybody to send good thoughts. She is being hospitalized. She is not doing very well. So, of course, I had to stop at Whole Foods on my way back and pick up a vegan blueberry muffin that I was eating on the way home. And you know what? It's okay. I was eating as mindfully as possible, and it was very comforting. So, sometimes we're going to have moments like that, and that is okay. But can you notice, because I do notice when I'm driving or when I'm otherwise engaged doing something else, I am not as present with my food and I'm not able to appreciate it in the same way. Example, driving home from the emergency vet. So, mindful eating, it really means savoring texture, smell, and taste with each bite. And when we eat so fast, think of those Thanksgiving meals, right? Or birthday cake or whatever, it's how often do we really, really savor it? Sometimes I can look down at a plate and be like, oh, where'd that go? I don't even remember it. So the other thing is to honor, it's to take it to this level of mindful eating, which there's this great raisin exercise. You could also do dark chocolate that Jon Kabat-Zinn does. And, what I love about it is he takes it to the next level, right? So say you think about the farmer who actually made the food, grew the food, the sunshine and the soil that gave the food fuel, the people who transported the food, and those who set it out at the farmer's market or grocery store. All those people helped contribute to your ability to consume. Or maybe it came out of your own garden. So again, the soil, the sunshine, the water, etc. And one thing that's really lovely is trying a meal in silence, and sitting down and candlelight and set table, where you really, really tap into the whole experience. Another thing, this is quite helpful and hard, is to put your fork down between bites. Chew thoroughly. It's funny, most mornings, at least lately, I've been having Ezekiel toast, which is sprouted grain toast. It comes frozen. You put it in the toaster. And then I put faux butter and then this really yummy French jam on top. And I tell you, always I'm like, oh, I did not chew enough with that bread. I think sprouted grain is just really, really dense. So anyway, it always gets a little caught in my chest. You'd think I would have figured this out after years of consuming this, that I really have to chew. And if you can, I encourage you to practice this, is chew until there is nothing left. That's kind of the idea with the raisin exercise. And it is hard as hell. Who knew, right? That it's so hard to actually just chew until nothing is left. Listen to you when your body's full. And, one thing that I've read, there's a great book called Savor by Thich Nhat Hanh, is that it can take 20 minutes to know you're full. Well, at that point, I could have had 3 meals, right? And 2 glasses of wine. So it's really important to notice, can you give yourself a little bit of a pause when you're like, oh, I need one more thing. I just need dessert, or I just need another glass of wine. It's like asking yourself, let me pause and see, do I really need this? So mindful eating is really all about helping us notice patterns. And if we eat when we're sad, if we reach for sugar when tired, hand raised there, or if we eat more in social settings, maybe we're a little anxious, or maybe we're surrounded by food that we would not have in our kitchen at home. All right, so these are ideas on the next 4 kind of layers of daily self-care. Okay, we're already eating, right? So can we do it more mindfully? We're already talking to ourselves. Let's be honest. Can we be more positive? Can we journal? Can we spend a little time? Now, journaling and gratitude are things that we actually need to make a point to do, right? We're not automatically doing them, like bathing or breathing or moving or sleeping or, mindful eating or positive self-talk. So these 2 are ones that we actually just have to, if you send a text message of gratitude to one person every day, that could take a minute, right? And then for journal writing, if you could set aside a few moments just to kind of sit with your thoughts every single day, I promise you will notice a profound difference. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. A sweet reminder, subscribe in your favorite podcast app, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon. And also be sure to sign up for our last TDJ Live of the year. It's happening on September 19th, fall, my absolute favorite season. Also, our next and last virtual retreat of 2021 is happening on October 2nd. There's a link to join that. And then there's also a link to join the waitlist for the TDJ Passholder Collective, which gives you access to everything in 2022. So more details for all of this in the show notes, KimberlyWilson.com/555. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I wish you a delicious week ahead. And just so you know what's up in our next self-care week is goals, rituals, digital downtime, and creative play. All right, ladies and gents, have a great, great week.